hopefully this is live and you can hear me. I'm going to be checking the comments. If you can hear me okay, can you just say in the comments below that it's coming through loud and clear? And I'll just wait. John Moncrief. John, can you hear me okay? Fantastic, thank you very much. I'm going to be joined shortly by a friend of mine called Jo Gowder. She's also there she is. Hiya Jo. She's also a hypnotherapist. I think she's already added. Let me just double check. There she is. Hiya Jo.
Good evening, James. Good evening, everybody. Hiya. Can you hear me okay? I can hear you, James.
Yeah, you're loud and clear at this end. Just to give a bit of an introduction to everyone who's watching, if you don't know me, my name is James Taylor. I'm a hypnotherapist, a life coach and a counsellor. And Jo, you are?
I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm a hypnotherapy trainer.
Awesome. Jo's excellent at what she does. Jo, what's the name of your company?
I just have a brand which is called Hypno Jo. It's basically how people were saving my name after the therapy. So I've seen them typing Hypno Jo. So hypnojo.com.
Awesome.
That's my.
You're probably going to be able to understand Jo easier than you can me with my Liverpool accent, but we'll get by. It's all right.
James, it could be difficult for both of us. You're from Liverpool, I'm Polish. What a mixture.
We'll get by. It'll be all right. So this live is for anyone who's watching it. If you're watching it now, please give it a thumbs up. If you're watching it on replay, let us know in the comments below. Just want to set a few ground rules, really. If you have any questions, type them in the comments. I can see them coming up on the screen. We've also got some questions that people have asked me prior to this, so me and Jo are going to deal with them as well. And the topic of today's live is about using hypnotherapy and life coaching tips for resilience. That sound good, Jo?
Yes, it does. I see Alexander and I see Vanessa. Hi guys. I don't know you, unfortunately. Karen, nice to see you. You're all gang surrounding James, yes, but hopefully we'll get to know each other as well. So James, yeah, would you like to start? And once people will warm up, and guys, you can ask the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When it comes to resilience, a lot of times people try and start something, and then something happens that knocks them off the horse, knocks them off track, and that can be for a number of different reasons. It could be the voice that's in your own head. It can be the voice that's other voices outside your head. It might be you don't know anyone who's done this kind of thing before. You might just lose heart. It could be lots and lots of different reasons. But I want to tell you a bit of a true story. I do tell stories as part of my work with clients, and this one's a true one. And it's also like wanted to be a foundation stone of where we're going with this, really. A long time ago, there was a race, and it was a very important race because the prize was so fantastic. Now, because the prize was so fantastic, there was loads of competitors. Every time the race was run, there was a different number of competitors. But it was estimated, and it's been estimated, that every time this race was put my teeth in, this race was run, it was between several 100,000 competitors, or sometimes several million. Now, there's a problem with this race. None of the competitors knew where the finish line was. So you can imagine that would be a bit of a problem to try and overcome, to get to the front, to keep some energy back, and to pace myself. Well, that was the problem that the people in this race had. Now, when the race started, everyone set off, and some were clearly not match fit, and they fell by the wayside. Now, this race was relentless. There was no time to stop and rest. It was twists and turns and highs and lows and ups and downs. And more fell by the wayside until there was only a small group left. And then the finish line and the prize came into view. This pack raced towards each trying to be first. Sometimes it was shared, but normally just one won the prize. But there was another catch. Because when the winner of this race won that prize, they had to go on another journey immediately and take the prize with it. And that was difficult, because if they failed here, the penalty was death. So it really was an all or nothing kind of scenario. Now, this is a race that you've already been in, and you won it, because this was a race when you were nothing but a sperm swimming towards the egg, and you beat potentially millions to be here, because there was something in you that would not quit, that would not stop, that the others didn't stand a chance, because you had every quality that was needed to be a winner in every single regard. Now, that winner didn't die 280 days later when you made your debut on the planet. Sometimes things might have been hard for you. You've been at your own cliff edge, the end of your rope, you can't go on, you can't do any more. Then a part of you's come forward and said, just one more step, just a bit more, we can do this, it's going to be all right. That's the winner that helped you on the very first challenge you've ever had. That's that winner coming forward. So you've got this thing within you, we all have, because you're the best out of the bunch, out of millions. And you can do that when you were so little and so tiny, before you knew about fear, stress, anxiety, this kind of stuff. If you did that back then, there's virtually nothing you can't do now. That's a true story.
It is indeed. I haven't heard this story before, James. I was listening this with pleasure. I just need to even put my speaker a bit higher. So there is this premise, yes, we all should be tapping into. There is something within us, this unbeatable force which will carry us no matter what, through the different obstacles and problems and whatever we're experiencing in the reality. So would you call it a trust, or universe, or vibrational, or life force?
I think it's all. I think it's all those things combined. I think we're a big soup of all this stuff. No, I really do. So, can you think of times, Joe, when you've been at the end, without sharing any details, when you've been at the end of your rope and thought, you know what, one more breath, one more step? You know, can you think of that? I can think of loads when I've done that myself.
I'll let you know. James, Vanessa is saying you're a bit quiet. Maybe you can go closer to the speaker.
Oh, hang on, I'll move myself closer, but it means my head's going to get bigger. So I'm going
I mean,
you
know, whatever it takes, James, just get your head bigger.
Okay,
Be humble.
I'll do it.
People want to hear. Vanessa wants to hear. So did I have times when I was saying, oh, just one step, one more day, one more day? Of course, we all have it's through my whole life, you know. Look at this, look at me. I'm a foreigner. Yes, I live in a foreign country. I love living here, but you know, it's a transition from one country to another. You have to learn language. You have to settle within the systems. Even the systems in the UK are so much better than in Poland. Anything I think is better than Polish inland revenue. Trust me, guys, it's brilliant here. So you need to have a stamina. You need to have this push. You need to trust. You need to have guts. You need to believe something is behind your back to go through the days. But I didn't, as a foreigner being here and also training myself for the hypnotherapist and living my life here, I wouldn't say it was a struggle. Alan says you have always had a big head, mate. You have good friends. You have good friends, James. You know, they're very supportive. Alan, thank you. It's a lovely comment. So it's it's a of course, emotionally, you know, sometimes with people, when you feel like you can't handle this anymore, with or pain or being neglected or not being seen, is just how you trust in yourself, how you believe in yourself. But I really like this one sentence, which is really speaking to me. Actually, I have two mantras at the moment in my head. One mantra is that universe is always doing everything for me, not to me.
Okay. Yeah.
So as long as I find myself in a victim mode, oh, why is it happening to me? I have to recall this sentence in my head. Universe is actually doing everything for you. And the second thing is about leading and leadership. So if you want to be a good leader, you need to lead yourself first. So it's to be, you know, as a therapist, we have a tendency to focus ourselves on the needs and other people, how they feel, what they want, and their goals. So you want to become a good leader. But for me, it's to actually giving this nurturing and self-care to myself. So if I can lead myself emotionally, sort of physically, mentally, spiritually first, then I can lead others. So this two, you know, it changes with the life, but at the moment, these two statements that are really helping me. If it's
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
helpful to you guys as well, it will be something hopefully you can take out of this. And what about you, James?
Well, I think it's mindset. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's mindset. I think
Mhm.
if you you know you're never going to feel positive if you think a negative thing, never.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so you got to. For me, I decide what I'm giving my attention to. So I very rarely listen to the news because it's mainly negative. I don't have a television, so I don't waste time watching that.
Mhm.
I haven't had a TV for about 4 years now, and I don't miss it.
Don't you even have a Netflix or something?
No, no,
So not even, you don't have television, nothing.
no, no.
Lucky man you are.
Well, I had a story about that, and but it's going off it's going off piece a little bit. But no, I don't have it. I don't have
Okay. Hi Carolina, this good to hear you. You know, today is going to be in English.
Well, you're going to speak English. I'm going to speak Scouse. So,
Well, yeah.
but I think I definitely think it's mindset. I think if you think you can, yeah, I think you're 90% there. You know, because you
Mm,
burn down many obstacles that would stop other people from doing these things.
mm-hmm.
I've been told I'm stubborn. I prefer to think strong-willed. But
Okay.
if I put my mind to something and I get emotionally involved in what it is that I want to do, um, it, it's got to be difficult to knock me off track. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that. And it's not because I'm great and I'm better than anyone else, because I'm not. I
Mm-hmm.
just know that if I put my mind to it and I want to do it, then you know, I'm doing it. And that's just the way it is. Because I sort of like say that to myself, things that may knock other people off track, it won't knock me off track. It might win me, it might bruise me, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
beat me up a little bit, but I'm still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for me, that's just the way it is, and it's very matter of fact. So I feel quite lucky. I remember when I was younger, and my dad would be doing something, and I didn't know how to do it, and I'd say, "How do you do that?" And I was very small, and he'd say, "Just do it." And I'd say, "Yeah, but how do you do it though? How do you do that thing?" He'd say, "Just do it." And remember being very frustrated because he wasn't telling me anything. But I realise now I'm older and wiser, he was actually telling me everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's hard because sometimes if you don't think very highly of yourself, um, you can talk yourself out of something, and no one else has to say a word. And this is where I want to help people with this video, with putting some of them tools in the little emotional toolbox. So when you're going for something, if that voice ever comes up, you have little methods to quiet it down and turn down the volume on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I think James, what you're saying, this hygiene, this mental and emotional hygiene within us. So first thing we need to understand how we bring the things into reality, because the thought, the feeling, how it gets into the body and it gets into the results. Yes.
Yeah,
So we need to know how, because people say, oh, coming to the hypnotherapist or life coach, I'm having this result. How did it happen to me? Why is it happening to me? Uh, but it's by default, by thinking, feeling, and by acting. So if I think if we have the consciousness of how we bring the things into reality, it's so sort of comforting. At least we know why we are having these results, so we
yeah,
know that it's because of our thinking. And the second thing about the TV, Alan, um, what Alan was saying about that many people doesn't have a TV, which sort of brought this thought in me, that actually how important it is what we are feeding our mind with.
yeah,
We don't even realize, what's happening to us on our unconscious level, how this worry and anxiety is fed through all the stories, all the news, all the images to flashing. We think, oh, we're just eating cereals and we just, oh, we are not really listening what is there about what's happening with at the moment, but it's actually, it's feeding into our unconscious mind. So if we can encourage people to throw the TVs out of the windows after this life, it would be a good thing. Would you think, apart from the emotional toolbox? What do you say, Jay?
I think it'd be good.
Mm.
I mean, I had to go somewhere about a year ago. I had to have some physio on my foot, and the place I was staying at was residential, and
Oh.
yeah, they had a TV in the room, and that was a bit unique for me. And I thought, oh, I'll watch a bit of TV. It was
What
the
did you
same
say?
crap that had been on the TV 5 years earlier when I had one. It was rubbish, rubbish, the TV. I'll tell you something about Alan, and this ties in with this resilience thing. If you want to do something, get an accountability partner. Get someone who wants the same thing as you, and they want it as much as you. I know Alan when I lived in Liverpool, and we were in the Territorial Army together. Alan went right up through the ranks after I'd left.
Bless you, Alan. You've done well.
He's done fantastic. But Alan was my accountability partner because there was a marathon, a half marathon that we were entered into. And Alan lived in the next road to me, or the road after. And me and him were running partners. And I don't know whether I've ever told Alan this, but there was times when I just didn't feel like going. But I couldn't let him down. I had to, get out there. And Alan kept me on track, and I don't know whether I kept Alan on track as well. But the pair of us trained together, got fit together, were able to do miles together, and both completed this half marathon together. So it was get an accountability partner. What I'd say is don't get loads. For me personally, if there's 5 accountability partners, if I don't dip in one week, I don't feel so bad because there's 4 others. If I've just got one, I'm letting that one person down, and I've got to do it. Hiya, Caroline. So I've got to. That's one of my little top tips. Get a really good accountability partner, someone who's going to talk you into it, not talk you out of it.
So so the tips would be how we maintain our mental emotional state. So constantly focusing on a good feeling, and the second thing, our surroundings, who we are associate ourselves with, instead of someone who is very negative and will drag us down, just to bring someone with the sparkle in eye who will uplift you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see. Okay, so someone asked the question about, do you think illnesses can be beaten by it's John. Do you think illnesses can be beaten by positive mental attitudes? I refuse to bow down to pain and sickness. What do you think? Let's talk about this, James, because John is keen to know.
Not being medically trained, of course, so this is just my opinion, not my advice. I would say yes. I think there's so many studies being done. So many studies are being done that when you think a certain way, you're giving off a certain energy or vibration. And if that's a positive thing, it's a positive vibration. If you think it a negative thing, of course, that's a negative vibration. Now, studies have been done that when you show a positive energy to a negative thing, if the positive energy is strong enough, it starts to defeat it. And there's a fantastic book that you might want to check out, John. It's called You Are the Placebo. And it's by a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza. You Are the Placebo. Fantastic book. Gives loads of examples about people who have bought into a wrong diagnosis and then died of it. And they didn't have it. And people who've been told by a witch doctor, you're going to die, there's a curse on you. And they do. And they buy into it. There's a great study on YouTube as well, where a test was done on the British Olympic cycling team, where they were given a tablet and they were told, this is legal, but this will improve your performance. There was nothing in the tablet. It not only improved their performance, it better than any of them had ever done. So huge. Mental attitude is huge on this. I remember I remember reading about an old, in fact, you might know who this is, Joe. I think it's a hypnotherapist. It might have been Milton Erickson, but I'm not sure on that. And he was asked, what's the guarantee for living to old age? And he said, drink lots of water before you go to bed. And someone said, oh, why is that? To keep you like hydrated and stuff? He said, no, he said, because you've got to get up in the morning to go to the toilet. but I don't know who that was.
To give you a reason for that. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was drinking some silver method or something with a glass of water.
No.
I wanted to mention Dr. Dispenza as well, because I think he's number one. He's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
And he wrote also this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He's got these meditations, very like healing meditations. If you want to go into his website, and they're so extremely hypnotic. I have 2 of these meditations, and you visualize that it's like a water flooding you bit by bit, and you are going into the nothingness, so you're out of your ego, but in a very persistent way. So I think this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, written by medical doctor who actually experienced a sort of miracles, could help you. And the second, I think it's Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. How Louise, bless her, she's not here anymore, how Louise healed herself by the power of affirmation from I think from the cancer, yes, just by positive affirmation, and of course healthy eating, being on greens only. But I think she was the one who just carved the path of mind and body connection. So yeah, definitely illnesses can be what we think we become. And if there's illness, so that's the proof of that.
I think in the Joe Dispenza, the Power of the Placebo, I think one of the stories is there was a guy who loved Laurel and Hardy films, and he got a load of videos back then sent into the hotel room, sent into the hospital room, and he could watch them, and he was laughing so much he raised his own energy levels. And he got better.
Oh yeah, yes. And then because of the watching so many comedies, he sort of healed himself by being focused all the time on the positive thinking. Yeah.
It goes so far, and I really think children are great at this. You know, because with their imagination, you know, you give a child some pans and a wooden spoon, someone's going to turn into a chef, someone's going to turn into Ringo Starr and be a drummer.
Well, James, not anymore. You give them iPads and iPhones, you know. The wooden spoons are, I think, long gone, I'm afraid.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned.
I would love this to happen.
Yeah, but kids are great at this because they're imagining. And as we get older, you know, teachers in school, adults might say, you know, stop daydreaming, living in fantasy land, get with reality. Well, I think that's the wrong advice. I think you can, in your head, you can go anywhere and do anything, and you can create something and get energy from that.
Eventually, the fantasy will become a theory. Oh, maybe actually I can do it. You know, you can rehearse it so many times that it will, you know, it's like Aladdin's lamp. You just exercising this power, mental power, in a positive way. You're fantasizing, but eventually, because of focusing, you will bring this into reality. It will become a theory. Oh, actually, maybe it's possible. What was just a fantasy, absolute ridicule fantasy before, because you're giving this so much attention, it's like, oh, maybe, oh, actually, could I find a way? Could I find this actually happening? So we shouldn't discourage this. We shouldn't discourage this positive thinking. Guys, is there anything you would like? Let me just. Do you want to check the comments, James? I see.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, feel free.
Yes, there are some comments. Can you see comments, James? Oh,
yeah.
Brain can. Carolina. Oh, our brain can heal any illness on. Exactly. We are on steering wheel, Carolina. We are indeed. James, would you like to go to comments? Very positive about running. We were, Alan is saying, we were very positive about running, only jogging. We used to love it in the sun and in the rain. Oh yeah, I like the part rain. Oh my God. Sounds like too much exercise. Somebody.
Going along.
Aha, John is saying somebody. John saying somebody we know, their mom was diagnosed with cancer. She got really Shivan and was told she is been wrongly diagnosed. Oh, oh, so she was wrongly diagnosed. John, okay. So it's a good news.
That is good news. Sometimes, though, before it's realised that the diagnosis is wrong, someone can get in that mindset. I have got this. It is terminal. I do have to develop these symptoms because this is what someone with this illness develops.
That's the power of it. Can you imagine that? That someone just suggested the thought in the wrong or in the right time, and it actually can sink in, and the body will produce the results. And Carolina is saying,
we can do a little test on this now, if you want. For the people who are watching, imagine, and this won't work on everyone, but imagine one of the old-fashioned blackboards that you'd have in school. And imagine if I went round to it and just dragged my fingernails right down the board. Right? Some of you might cringe, you go, but why? There's no blackboard. It's just you imagining something. And then you get the emotion and the physical response as if it was real. This is how clever your mind is and what it can do for you. It can give you a positive thing or a negative thing. And I genuinely think we've got genius and magic in between our two ears. And we're just told sometimes the wrong stuff. And we're sometimes told the wrong lessons growing up that we buy into that aren't entirely true. Things like, that's not for the likes of us. You can't earn that kind of money. Who do you think you are? You don't know anyone who does that. Stop dreaming so big. Get back to reality. And they might be getting told to you by people who love you dearly, but it's a limiting belief. And you might buy into it because you were very little when you were told something like that. And the person who told you might have got it from their mum and dad, who might have got it from their mum and dad. And these limiting beliefs can go through generations. And it's only when you start getting a bit savvy around this kind of stuff that you can realise, actually, not all the stuff I've been told is true. And I've just bought into it and believe in it. Maybe I should start figuring out, is this real? Or is other things not true as well? Because there's so many things you've probably been told in good faith that are not entirely accurate.
I think we don't. The biggest problem is, James, we don't even realize what we don't know. Many of these thoughts, we don't know what we don't know, but results will show. I think the reality check will say, okay, I have these results in my life around relationships. I have these results in my body as an illness. I have these results as far as money. Let's check the results, and then what sort of belief this person needs to have this type of results. It is very simple. It is by default. Because we don't, there's how many unconscious thoughts per day? Is it 60, 90,000 per day? We don't even know. So it will be difficult to examine all the limiting belief. But let's check the reality. Okay, am I happy about this? Oh, no, it's no good. Oh, it's no good. So what sort of thinking might cause something like this? Am I not good enough? I don't belong. There are a couple of mind viruses. I don't belong. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm stupid. It's overwhelming. Oh no, it's overwhelming. I can't be doing it. It's overwhelming. It's too much. And they will find out. So I need to create the strategies around this. But deep down, I believe it.
Let's have a talk about strategies, because I want to help people with some things they can do. Because you know the film Dumbo, the Disney film Dumbo?
Yes, I've been, when the cinemas were still there.
He's given like the little feather and he holds it in his trunk. And it says, when you hold the feather, you can fly. And he's got to have his feather with him all the time. And then the bit in the film where he realises he's flying, but he hasn't got his feather, and he panics. And then there's a moment of realization where, and I can't remember whether he realizes it or whether someone shouts and tells him, you don't need, the magic isn't in the feather. It was just your head thought it was, but it wasn't the feather. It was what was inside you was the magic. And you've got magic in you. Might seem like magic. That you've got something in you that makes you the best out of all that race that I mentioned at the
So would you
start.
say the strategist will be the feather we are holding on, believing that this is what it's creating the results we have? It's not us, it's the strategist. This is what would be the feather?
I think the strategies can be the feather. Or see you, Vanessa. All the very best. You can catch the rest of this. I'll keep it on my Facebook page. Yeah, Caroline, the Dumbo films are great. I mean, I love the Disney films. The messages in the Disney films.
Oh, they're lovely.
Someone has to go through a hardship and a challenge to have a breakthrough at the other side, to be something that they didn't ever think they could be. Whether it's Aladdin or Dumbo or Jungle Book or whatever it might be.
It's a hero's journey, as James, who is saying this? Campbell, yes, James Campbell, who is saying the hero's journey. It starts with the struggle, and then you discover who you've always been. All the alchemist, the Coelho, yes, you discovering who you truly are, and you've always been this person. Just going to John. Not many teachers told us we were stupid. Not many teachers told us we were stupid and would never achieve anything. John, I would encourage you to be in a communistic class when I was taught. Trust me. It was serious bullying, and I appreciate you sharing. But I'm sure what teachers are telling it's stuck in our heads because we believe it through the authority figure. You're stupid. You will never achieve anything. You're stupid at maths. I bet some believe that and haven't. If you keep telling somebody they're stupid, they believe it. Exactly. Especially from the authority figures. Oh, Vanessa, sorry. Thank you.
But it's such a big deal, because if you're so little and someone is so old and so wise, I'll tell you the true story. It was a client I had who actually has given me permission to share this because they found it so profound. It was a hypnotherapy client I had who had these really racist feelings, knew that they shouldn't have them, but couldn't help have them. And they wanted hypnotherapy to see, where they came from.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So what we did a regression. It's called, the technical name is a regression to cause. It's basically taking someone back along the timeline to the significant event where this thing, because they weren't born a racist, this has come from somewhere. And and they couldn't remember this. That's the important bit to remember. They couldn't consciously remember it, but unconsciously you stored everything that you've ever learned. So we did the regression, and it went back to him being a very, very small boy. And he was walking down the road with his grandmother, and his grandmother was like so old and so wise and wrinkled, and he remembers reaching up high to hold her hand. So he was really tiny, and he saw some money on the floor, and he went, "Nan, look, money!" And he went to grab it, and his nan yanked him away quite violently. Now that was the significant bit for him, because his nan was normally quite passive and she was very aggressive with him. He yanked him away, at the same time saying, "Don't touch it. A black person might have dropped it."
Oh, that's association of the money. They are dirty. On the top of that is the black person. Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you, Granny.
And what happened was, he, of course, was so young, and Nan was so old and so wise. Nan must be right. And that planted the seed, and that grew. Now, as he grew up, he forgot consciously that memory, but unconsciously, the seed was still there, growing. So when we sorted the matter out, what he actually realised at a conscious level and at an unconscious level was that his grandmother was just really an old racist. And just because she said something didn't make it right. And because of that, he could realise where it was, and he could let it go. And letting go was a big thing. I heard a saying recently, I love this one, by the way. It was, let go or get dragged along. And I love that. And he was able to let go and not get dragged along by these racist feelings. And he felt, and he was 100 times better. He was a better version of himself. But his nan planted the seed.
I mean, I that's why we are both hypnotherapists, and we you and me, James, we believe in the power of unconscious mind and how everything is stored there. And there's the power of unconscious mind is unbelievable. But I want to tell the story about something actually how the unconscious mind will help the solutions for us, because you did the regression and someone was feeling achy and uncomfortable, that was feeling and acting your client didn't want to feel, and unfolding it sort of released the whole thing. But I want to tell you guys how working with unconscious mind and hypnosis can help you to find the solution. So years ago, I worked at Harley Street. I didn't know then that it was such a posh street for all the doctors and, King's Speech Street and stuff. So, but anyway, Harley Street, and this gentleman is coming here for the sessions. Nice Indian, but he was working in the bank in sort of high positions in the bank industry, yes, and he wasn't happy about his weight because he was snacking, he was eating, and he was binge eating basically. And of course, it was emotional eating, and he admitted, saying, "Joe, I want to lose some weight. Just brainwash me. I don't know. Just do something. Hypnotize me. I pay the money, just do something." They treat hypnotherapists as a magician. Just 1, 2, 3, just do it, man. Okay. So, okay, Mr. Banker wanted to lose weight, and it was emotional. And I asked the question, so why are you feeling emotional? Why are you overeating? Why you're getting the comfort from food? Do you have any problems? What's going on? It's good to ask before you put them into trance. Oh yeah, my family is in New York. They're so far away, but this job is good here and I make good money, but I do miss them and I'm feeling so lonely, but it's a good money here. So I asked the sort of obvious question, is there no banking jobs in New York? I'm sure there are. No, there's no good banking jobs in New York. There's no good. That's why I'm staying here. I'm sort of torn apart in my heart, and I'm eating all the Snickers and all the packs of sweets from Sainsbury's. Do something, Joe. I said, maybe, Mr. Banker, there is some solution for you in your unconscious mind to solve the situation for you. I don't know. I don't believe it. Okay. Just hypnotize me for do not eat sweets. Okay. I said, okay, let's do it. I don't know. I thought about all the possible solutions. There's no solution. I have to stay here and miss them. Yes. Yeah. So, okay, Mr. Banker is in the hypnosis. In a trance, I do the part of suggestion every day. In every way, you're feeling less inclined to eat tons of sweets, la la la. But I'm a bit sneaky, and I said, Mr. Banker, unconscious mind, can you tell me what would be the way for Mr. Banker to be happy and connected to his family while staying in the New York? What he would be doing for work? And do you know what Mr. Banker said? Oh, I would open a recruitment agency for the bankers, for the banking system, because I have so many contacts. Good. I wouldn't have come up with this question myself, of course. No. And then I brought him out of the trance. I don't remember. I said, really? Don't you? So all the solutions are within us. Yeah. We just don't want to access it.
They really are. I mean, that's a great story, the way you helped that guy, because the answer came from him, but I was imagining that answer within him. There's a little something for people to consider who are watching this. There's a thing called, you have all these different laws, and one of them is called the Lord of Polarity, or sometimes it's called the Lord of Opposites. And what it means in normal language is that you can only have a left because a right exists. And you can't have an up without a down, or an inside without an outside, hot, cold, yin, yang, this kind of stuff. So what that means is that for every problem, there's got to be a solution, because there's always a flip side to everything. Now, a little way around this, what might help you, I don't like problem and solution, because I think that's coming at it from a bad energy level. Because if you've got a big problem, you might need a big solution to sort out the big problem. So a better way of approaching this, I find, instead of using the word problem, use the word question. And then you've got to find what's the answer to the question. And if you allow yourself to go quiet, where you're not going to be disturbed, you can almost put yourself in a self-hypnotic trance, just while you lose yourself in your mind and think, what would the answer be to this? Because you will have the answer within you.
Mhm.
Some people are looking in all the wrong places, and it's all in here. If you give yourself a chance, and sometimes when you're most relaxed, that's when you will get the answers. You might have been in the shower and all of a sudden come up with a fantastic idea. It's because
Mhm.
you're so relaxed. Or you might be outside doing something enjoyable, and then your mind's not even on it. And then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
it kicks in, the machinery kicks in and gives you a solution or an answer to your question.
Mhm.
So if you want to have resilience over something and it's a problem and you're thinking solution, make it a question and then an answer.
Mhm.
You'll find it easier. It's reframing. It's a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming or NLP,
It
but
is.
it gives you the solution.
It is fantastic what you said, James. Reframing to solution is very important. And
Yeah,
also, what you mentioned here about redirection of the energy. Whatever we are focusing on grows.
yeah,
It's a problem.
definitely.
It's a problem. It's a wall. It's a wall. It's a problem. It's a wall. It's a wall. So if you feel stuck in life, just do something different. Just do something different. Get your head, I don't know, do jogging or watch something, some film or read a book. Do something different. Clean the house to get your mind, because you've already fed the problem with your energy enough.
Yeah, definitely.
You're feeding this. It's growing from a small thing. It's growing in your mind. You know how many clients, James, probably came to you saying, oh, my problem is bigger than me. And then I'm asking the question, how big? How big? Oh,
Yeah,
it's massive. How massive? It's like, Joe, it's like a brick wall, at least, I don't know, in feet, in 2 meters high, you know. So it's a massive wall. So can you get over it? No, I can't. That's why I'm here with you. What is it made of? Oh, it's you know, they're fantasizing. It's made of the really solid bricks. Oh, so you know, even description of it makes it so hard. So even
yeah.
reframing this, like NLP is saying, is just imagine it becomes the size of a tennis ball, very light, and you can hold it in your hand.
Hmm.
I can't imagine. I said, no, try to shrink it in your mind and then just throw it. How does it feel? It feels light. Unconscious doesn't recognize the difference between imaginary and real.
No,
But
that's
how
right.
we perceive our perception of something, if we are giving this so much strength and power, it will be like this. Okay, you want it, you have it. Okay, it's
Yeah,
so difficult if you try, if you believe it. So yeah, it's how we perceive the things. Perception is very, very important as well.
and on
Let's see
perception
if
as
we.
well.
Mm.
Sometimes it can seem as if something's going wrong,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is never going to end. You know, it's going to last forever, and nothing
Mm-hmm.
lasts forever. I like the analogy of, you know, the seasons. You know there's going
Mm-hmm.
to be summers, and you
Mm-hmm.
know it's going into autumn. You know it's going to be winter. Then we're back in
Mm-hmm.
spring again, and then, you know, then we're going back to the. It never goes summer to spring, and it never goes winter to summer. It follows a bit of a pattern. There's the highs and the lows, and this thing's like a wave.
Mm-hmm.
So if things are difficult at the moment, especially with COVID, there's a lot of people getting
Mm-hmm.
stressed out with COVID. It's not going to last forever. You know, your freedom, you're not going to be locked down
Mm-hmm.
forever. If things are hard for you at the moment, it's not going to last forever. If things are great for you at the moment, bit of an honesty, it's not going to last forever. There's going to be a dip, but then it's going to come back up. And that's just how things are. It's like the rough and the smooth. And when you accept, a bit of a top tip around this, where a lot of people go wrong, um, is what you should do. You should control what you can and don't try and control what you can't. And a lot of people have that back to front. They don't control what they can and they try and control what they can't. And that's just a
Mm-hmm.
massive recipe for
Mm-hmm.
failure because it's pot luck if it's going to pan out the way you want it to. So if you've
Mm-hmm.
got something that you want to, if something comes up for you and you think, what can I control about this situation? Is it just I'm going to control how I feel about it? And if someone else is acting like an idiot, well, I can't control them acting like an idiot. So I'm just going to control my response to the idiot or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the situation is. But sometimes this stuff can be a bit like and I'm throwing, you know, we're both throwing loads of things at you here. You're right, Ali. It can be difficult at
Mm-hmm.
times. It can. I'm not saying that this is a
It is
walk in the park.
difficult to be reactive instead of responsive. To be in this mode is very natural for us. Mm.
Yeah. What I would say is, whatever you're referring to there where it's so difficult, and you don't have to give any more detail than that if you don't want to.
Mm.
What's the one thing that you can do that would make it a little bit easier?
Mm.
There might be 10 things that are going wrong, but what's one
Mm.
thing that you can control about it?
Mm.
Is it, can you turn down the sensations a little bit? Can you not give it as much attention? Can you learn something to help you resolve it? Is there a question and you can find the answer for it? Can you talk with a friend who might have experienced this before, who knows what they're doing? Would it involve seeing a therapist? Would it involve going to the library? Would it involve Google and Google search? There's so many things that you can control, and I would encourage you, pick one of them and go looking for it. And you might not get the answer straight away, but if you keep on looking for the answer for the one thing, then you're going to get somewhere, and you're going to find an answer that's going to make that thing a little bit better, because you're a little bit better. Someone told me once that when you read a good book for the second time over, you don't see something in the book that wasn't there before. You see something in yourself that wasn't there before. So you might not get it right first time, second time, third time. You know, that's just the rough and the smooth kind of thing. I'm reminded of, I think in pictures, and I tell stories to explain myself a lot. I'm aware that I do that. But if you imagine driving down a country road, yeah, sometimes you're still making progress, but if the road's got lots of bends in it, you've got to slow down, or you're going to end up in a field, you know, with all the cows and the sheep. So you've got to slow down just to, Drew, you've got to slow down just to negotiate the bends. But of course, it doesn't always stay like the bends. Sometimes the road's going to go straight, and then you can put your foot down and make faster progress. And then you'll go a bit further down the road, and there's bends and twists and turns. You've got to slow down again. And maybe that's what's going on at the moment. Maybe there's lots of bends for you at the moment. Know that that won't last forever. Just sometimes, Leanne, sometimes just knowing that, even though you don't know when the bends are going to stop and the straight road's going to be there, sometimes just knowing that it's going to be there at some point, it makes you feel better. It's not like this is just on and on, no, non-stop. It's going to end, and it's going to get better.
I hope it helped Ali. Ali, also, I'm thinking what James said at the beginning. I like how you're telling stories, James. You know, they're so visual, or you immediately in the hypnosis. You know what I mean? James is great, very knowledgeable, and would highly recommend. James is great. I don't know James for long, but I'm sure that the way you speak, the way you speak, I'm sure your clients will get fantastic results. So, James, what you said,
I'm sure I owe him money.
and it was talked before the live. No, but what I'm saying, James, what you mentioned about sort of lowering your senses, Ali. Have you noticed this, guys, that we rehearse in our minds the please, that we rehearse in our minds all these things which are we feel victimized about, you know, just we sit in the front row of our own home cinema, and we display this film of what happened to us, and this is so emotional. This is so emotional. We're so engaged into this image. We are reliving it, how bad it was, how we felt, and the feeling appears in our body again. It's reliving it, rehearsing it. So what you mentioned, James, about lowering the senses is a disassociation. How would it feel if I was an observer of the situation? Yeah. You will immediately see the difference. Only that will help. Disassociation, somehow body feels calmer. Mind can observe. Being an observer, being the witness it's a top tip from me. Yeah, because then you will let just things drop. You are not feeding this with energy. You don't even have to try to be responsive or reactive. You don't have to try anything. You just disassociate. You disengage. Yeah.
There's actually a counseling technique that you can try that's very similar to that what you've just been talking about. If you've got and I don't like using the word problem, but for the sake of this, if you've got something that's going on for you and you feel like you don't know what the answer is, imagine, and really get involved in this, imagine that if it wasn't happening to you at all, but it was happening to your best friend, and imagine your best friend spoke to you and said, look, this is going on for me, and they told you exactly what was going on for you, really. But for the sake of this, it's going on with them and not you. If they told you and they said, what can I do? What can I do about this situation? What advice would you give them? Make it about them, not you. What advice would you give your friend if they were in that situation? You'll find that the advice that you give them, that's the advice you should take. And that's the answer that you've already got within you, that was within you all the time. You've got this stuff inside you. You've got this ability to solve problems, to ask questions, to get answers. You have this thing inside your head that will work out these issues for you. And just knowing that can be a massive bonus to think, if I let myself go quiet and stop thinking about why I can't do this, or why, you know, I want to lose weight, I want to pack in smoking, I want to get fit, I want to learn to drive, I want a relationship, I want a car, whatever the want is. Like Joe was saying before, think about the fantasy on this. Think, do you know what? If I had a car, that means I could go out if it was raining, I could go wherever I wanted. I could get a nicer car, you know, cost a bit more money, but I can travel around. Start playing with the fantasy and then thinking, well, how would that be? You know, would that mean money to one side? Do we need a bank loan? There's so many things. You're not here by accident. If you've beat millions, potentially millions to arrive on the planet because you had something within you that none of the other competitors had, that can't be by accident. If you were the best out of millions, that stands for something. And that means that you and like-minded people, when you get together with like-minded people who are looking forward instead of backward, you're going to find an answer. I mean, I remember watching an interview with Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones, and he was being asked, how did you write all these fantastic songs for the Stones? Now, I'm amazed that fella's still, the abuse that fella's given himself, I'm amazed he's still alive. But what he said was, I didn't write them. He said, I went into the studio with Mick Jagger, and he said, and I'd play something on the guitar, and Mick would come up with an idea, because I'd inspired him, and he'd come up with an idea, and that would inspire me. And then I'd come back with another idea, and he'd listen to it, and it'd inspire him. He said, and we're going up this ladder of inspiring each other, and at the end, we make this fantastic song. Now, Keith Richards couldn't have done that on his own, and neither could Mick Jagger, but you get two people in the same energy, feeding off each other, how you can, do this, you're going to come up with something fantastic. Now, it may not be a Rolling Stones hit, but it could be something that could totally change your life from night and day if you get in league with someone on the same energy level as you. Yeah.
It's true. It's very true, James. I also want to maybe just, I don't know how much time we have, but I wanted to say at the end, many of us will find it difficult to quiet the mind, because it's easy to say fantasize or bring this calm feeling, serenity within yourself, but is it that easy? We wake up sometimes feeling anxious. There's a feeling, vibration in our body. The thoughts they start racing. So can we give few tips on how we could start our day with this serene, calm attitude and this high vibration in our body? And can we give few tips, James? You know, because this is what most of what people would expect, I think, from the hypnotherapist. Like, oh, I'm so stressed and anxious. Just help me to.
Right, I'll tell you one that I love, and I got it from a book called How to Think Like Leonardo Da Vinci. And
that's a nice title.
yeah, it was actually a really, I got it because it was sort of recommended somewhere else, and I bought it not expecting much. It was a really good book. So How to Think Like Leonardo Da Vinci.
Who wrote it? Do you remember the author?
I didn't pay it. Michael Gerbes might be, but that's a guess.
Is it this guy? Hold on.
That's a guess on my part. I pay more attention to the title.
No. This one from the Creating the Impossible, the guy from the Creating Impossible?
I don't know.
Michael Neal. He's not, anyway.
So, but don't take me word on the author. Take me word on the book.
Okay. Think
How to
like
do it.
Leonardo da Vinci.
And what he does, one of the techniques, it's about affirmations. Now, a
Okay.
lot of people do affirmations wrong. They think, I stand there looking in the mirror saying, I feel great, I'm happy, I'm wealthy, you know, and I have to give it a
It's
few days.
it's very dull, as you said. So it's not
Yeah,
a high vibrational.
no. So, and I'd give it a few days and think, this is a load of rubbish, I'm not doing that anymore. And they write it
Okay.
off as crap. A better way of doing it, according to this book, is it goes, I feel, I am. And I'll explain what I mean. So
Hi, Mark.
say for instance, the word, you wanted to feel confidence. The affirmation was to have more confidence. So the way it works is you say, I am confident because I feel confident. And then you go inside mentally, where about you feel confidence? Yeah. So so that means you got to scan inside yourself. Where actually do I feel confidence? Is it, is it my heart? Is it because I can know it's beating? Is it because my health? Is it my breath? Is it because my thoughts? Is it my little toe? There's a little bit of confidence in my little toe. And then what you do is you get in touch with that feeling of confidence within yourself. And then you name it. So for instance, and you finish with I am. So if I was going to run through it off the top of my head, let's say it was confidence, because that's where we're going with this. So it'd be, I am confident because I feel confidence in my thoughts, because I'm able to figure stuff out. And I feel confidence in my heart because it's beating strong. And I know I've got my health. And I know I've got many, many years to get even better than what I presently am. And I am confident. And you build that into an affirmation for yourself.
Oh, like in every layer sort of intertwining with your body, with how you feel.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be confidence, it can be anything. But I am, I feel, and go inside and find out where you feel it. You will feel it somewhere. Even if it's the smallest thing, it's there. Even just knowing that you won a race against millions, that's the seed. Go find it. Go find it. So that's one of my tips. What about yourself, Joe?
At the moment, for me, there would be meditation. I love hypnosis, but hypnosis is the act of the active visualization. So you engage, and about meditation is something that you let these thoughts and feelings to pass you by, and you getting yourself more into the witness and observer state, which is extremely calming. So for me, for today, will be to just to sit or just to lie down and have some calming music or even guided meditation, but just to watch how the thoughts and feelings are passing by. Do not engage, just observe. This is very calming. If you do this for 5-10 minutes, you will feel serene, you will feel comfortable. Something, the waves of your, because the mind is duality. As long as you keep yourself engaging in the duality, even in affirmation, in anything, it will be the, it will be changing, will be swing. So as long as you engage in a soul consciousness and in a consciousness, it's, for me today would be the tip. So observe, just watch your breath. It's nothing exciting, but it's very powerful if you keep doing this every day in the morning.
Absolutely. Joe, I'm just conscious of the time, and a few people sent me questions privately that they wanted
to let's get into it.
So are we okay to, there's 4, but if anyone else has got any questions, type them in the chat and we'll try and get through them this evening.
Yes, okay, of course.
So if I just read them out one at a time, Joe, and we'll take turns if you like, see what we think.
Let's I don't know.
So one of the questions on being resilient, and everyone who sent me questions have asked to remain anonymous. That's fine. That's no problem at all. One of the questions was, there's something I want to go for, but other people might think I'm a bit crazy to go for it because no one in my family's done this before. And I'm worried that what people will think will stop me doing it. Any tips? Any thoughts? So basically, they want to go for something.
Oh yes, yeah, I understand. I watched the video by Master Shri Akarshana, which I follow his teaching. He's extremely successful business guy, and also he's like sort of a master spiritual teacher. And I really appreciate he's very successful financially. He's sold like 52 franchises, and he's a very good speaker, and he helped millions of people, and also he's got like a YouTube channel, 1.3 million viewers. So I feel he's the guy who knows what he's talking about. And
What's his name?
I've just watched this video, Master Shri Akarshana. He's Eric Ho. He's a Chinese guy, very knowledgeable and very spiritual. But anyway, he said something like this: to elevate, you have to separate. It's the answer to this question. I think it's very powerful. If you want, because you're in the same level of consciousness with your family, if you want to go for something bigger, they don't approve, you have to separate. And no one says, maybe at some point they will join you later on. Maybe your higher vibration, what you've achieved, will actually attract them as well. But there is this stage, and it's called, if you want to elevate, you have to separate. Which means you have to accept it, that you are more important. Otherwise, you won't change your vibration. You will be keeping yourself in the same level of vibration. You have to decide. You have to make the decision. But there is this process called to elevate. You have to separate from what you already know. You have to let go.
That's going to be hard as well, especially if it's family and friends who care about you and you love. And
I'm not saying to move out. I'm not saying to move out from the house, but this is what's happening energy-wise. This is what's happening with your attitude. You need to find this space within you, through the meditation, through the vision board, through I don't know, the picture on your laptop, or what you have on your phone. Question is, are you important to you? Is your dream important to you? Do you feel like you want? Is the why big enough? And sometimes you cannot eat the cake and have the cake. You are where you are because you are vibrating on the same frequency as your family. If you want to have something more, elevate means separate.
Yeah. The only thing I can add to that really is sometimes it's okay to say, that might be your view, and I hear it, and it's just not mine.
Yeah.
And that's that. That's the end of the conversation, really. Yeah, I guess
Exactly.
that's your view. It's just not mine.
But you need to feel comfortable within yourself to say that, and not to be dragged into the conversations. Yes.
Yeah, I know someone who tries that really. Okay, another question is, and I think we might have mentioned this already, but it might be worth going over again. What about when when I'm trying to be resilient, when I'm feeling negative about it? What do I do?
What do you say, James? I would say just change the feeling. Find something to feel positive about. Because I don't see the mental activity, positive mental activity going if you're feeling bad. You're just feeling bad. That's it. You need to find something you feel good about. Stroking the cat, having a hot shower.
Yeah.
Start small. What do you think?
I think a little hypnotherapy tip is, if there's negative energy there, I would encourage getting rid of it as soon as. And a way of doing this is get yourself sitting in your favourite chair where you're not going to be disturbed. Close your eyes, start breathing nice and steady, and imagine that, and really imagine, see it on the screen of your mind. Imagine that every time you breathe out, you're breathing out the negative energy, and it's collecting in a cloud above your head or in front of you or to the side or whatever it may want to be. And just breathe out, and every time you breathe in, be aware that what you breathe in is nothing but goodness and fresh air. So you're doing like this translate or transmute or swap of what's going on. You're breathing in goodness and you're breathing out the negative. And you'll notice, if you do that, that you become very calm, very still inside. And this cloud will become full of all the negative stuff. And when you're happy, that it's either you've either got rid of it all, or it's at a level that you're happy with, take a nice deep breath in. Let's breathe out. Let's blow it away. Blow it away so it'll pass through a wall, like a scene from a film, like a ghost. It'll pass through the wall and it will go. And you are stronger because of it, because you've done that. And that's a little hypnotherapy tip that you can try out. Because the negative stuff will try and lie to you because it's sneaky. There's a guy from Shark Tank called Kevin O'Leary. And if someone comes up with a bad idea, he says, you should take that around the back of the barn and shoot it, right? A negative thought will use any method to get you off track. Because if you become what you're aiming to become, that's going to lose its power. And it doesn't want to. It wants to make you feel like you're trapped by it. You're its prisoner, and you're not. So a way of doing this is to get with like-minded people, keep yourself on track, blow away negative thoughts, let yourself relax, think of an answer, meditate, get affirmations. There's so many things you can do. But just pick one. Just pick one and become like a ninja at it. So you are
and hold on into a good feeling, That's what is, because it's a vibration. To whatever gives you the good feeling is a good thing to do.
Got two more questions. One of them was, I don't have enough time to do stuff, do things that will improve me. That was a bit of a vague question. Any tips around time? If someone's saying, I just haven't got time to do this stuff.
The time to meditate, the time to
if they want to stay resilient, they haven't got time to give it the attention because there's other stuff coming in. Does that make sense?
So yeah, I understand. So they'll be okay. So it's the matter of slowing down. Okay, let's say that Tony Robbins meditation called priming is 15 minutes. It involves breathing, like a joint breathing, when you breathe in really deeply, and then you have this joint breath, which alters your state. It's 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes within a day, and you will feel the difference. And about 10 minutes meditate, 15 minutes meditation. Start small. Yeah, get up early, Carolina. Exactly. I mean, it's 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I love this meditation. I love this exercise. This is more like an exercise called priming. It changes, it alters your state by breathing, by how you breathe, techniques, and then how you meditate, how you balance the energy from the universe with the earthy energies, and how you open your heart and you do the gratitude. It takes 14-15 minutes. I think you have to decide that you want to find this time, because it's an excuse. There are excuses or results. I don't know. You have to decide.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. But you know who it was who sent the question is. I'm not going to name because you asked me not to. Bit of tough love. It's an excuse. It really is. You can find the time to do anything. If it's about getting in a better mindset, you can do it while you're in the shower. You can do it while you're sitting on the toilet. You can do it when you're walking around the block.
I like the toilet, maybe. Yeah, the toilet is a good one.
Well, I'll tell you one of the things that I've done for years, and it's bizarre. If ever I'm worried about something or something's on my mind, I'll go and get a shower, and I will mentally wash myself clean. And I imagine the thing that's bothering me, I wash it down the plug hole. I get out the shower, I'm clean, I can think clearer, and I can get on with it better. And it's funny because I've got 3 kids, and although 2 are adults now. And for years, if they're ever stressed over something at school or university, I've said, why don't you go and wash it down the plug hole? Just wash it down the plug hole and see what you feel. About a few months ago, I was on the phone to my son. I was saying,
Dad, I need a shower.
It's getting on my nerves. And he said to me, Dad, why don't you wash it down the plug hole? You little sod, you've been listening all these years. But you know what? It was right. It was good advice that he gave his old dad.
That
You
was
know.
just a mirroring, you know.
Yeah,
It's just
it
nice.
was. It was. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
Has anyone got any questions before we finish up for the night? If there is,
Oh,
like
Haley,
Haley, thank you.
Haley, Haley, bless you. Thank you. That's really nice. Carolina, thank you for you. Carolina said some comments, but I cannot scroll it up. Hold on. Dr. Dispenza teaching us not imagine and see what we want. He teaches us to feel like we already have what we want and feel all the
Yeah,
emotions linked to what we desire. Yeah, everybody's saying, all the gurus, Carolina, that are saying feeling is the key. So because feeling is the vibration, is the frequency. So is the frequency of I am confidence, I am peace, I am love, I am creator. That's the most powerful words you can have. I am already this. I am
yeah.
wealth, happiness. Mm,
Make it present tense. Definitely make it present
mm,
tense. Don't make it
mm,
future. Don't say
mm,
I am going to be confident. I am going to be creative.
mm,
It's I
mm,
am right now in the present tense. Even
mm.
if it feels like a lie, go with it, because the subconscious part of your mind can't tell the difference between a lie and the truth. And if you tell it something enough times, the machinery's going to kick in. Okay, lads, this is we're now confident. Okay, let's play the confident frequency, and
Mm.
that's the way it works. Yes, Steve, thank you. Slow down, think more. Yeah, Joe's right.
Sometimes to do my meditation and my break in work. Oh, Carolina, she found the way, of
Yeah,
course. So so first thing is to make a decision. We are deciding to feel good, and we have all the potential within us.
yeah,
We are creators. We are brilliant. We are peaceful. We are powerful. We are love. It's there.
yeah. A little bit of a roundup. Joe, any last comments or where people can get hold of you if they want to reach out?
You can. My name is Joe Gauda. You can speak to me, or you can message me on my Facebook page. I also have my fan page, Hypno Joe. And yeah, I'm inviting you to contact me as well, and you can write the questions below this live if you want to. Um, yeah, that's what I want to say. It was really lovely, very peaceful, very friendly. I'm in a sort of marathon of lives, every day, life.
Yeah,
Oh, Stephen, thank you guys. Key for me is to slow down and think more. And feel good, Stephen, and feel good. Feeling.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As you
James,
know,
and you?
my name's James Taylor. My business is called Write Your Own Story. That's with an R, not a W, because the things that I do, I help you put right the things that have been wrong. So write your own story. Let me know again if you've enjoyed this. Feel free to give us a like, give it a share if you think someone else might benefit from this. If you've got any questions, like Joe says, put it in the comments. If you want to reach out to us afterwards, you can do that via Facebook. Um, and let us know if you're watching this on replay or not. I hope you found it useful. If there's something that you'd like us to have a chat with again about something else, let us know. Me and Joe can arrange another one of these lives and um, give you a few little sneaky beaky ninja top tips that you probably pay a lot of money for elsewhere. So things that'll just help you just be a bit better every day, because you can be, and because
Mm-hmm.
you beat millions. Remember that, you beat millions to be here. You're a winner. You're a
Mm-hmm.
winner. Should we leave it there, Joe?
All right. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.